A super massive and explosive good evening to you for this Saturday, Summoners. Welcome back here at the Garena Premier League 2016 Summer Semi-Finals. Game 3 of the Best of 5 series between Saigon Jokers versus Singapore's very own Vestigial, and we're gonna be your shoutcasters. I am Shinbu with a 1, 4 and I, and with me our analyst, Coach Arctic. Ladies and gentlemen, we just came in from that very clean, as clean as my conscience came to for the side of Saigon Jokers' victory against Vestigial. What are your insights?
Oh gosh, I mean, Saigon Jokers, again, the expectations, living up to those expectations, and I wouldn't be surprised if they could 3-0 this.
Yeah.
But you know, who knows? Vestigial might make the miraculous reverse sweep here, but we'll find out.
We'll find out, ladies and gentlemen. This could be potentially the last match of today's episode. We've reached game point, ladies and gentlemen. Game 3. Let's get into the drafting phase. Once again, Saigon Jokers versus Vestigial.
So there we go for the bans for both the sides of Vestigial and Saigon Jokers. Again, I keep on saying this, but it happens. The very standard bans. The Vladimir, we know the insane sustain.
Ash, yes.
Exactly. You
They're
know,
gonna
nothing
remove
new
Ash
there.
though for against Celebrity.
Yes, we have seen how Celebrity is such a beast on the Ash. Well, then again, Celebrity pretty much makes any AD carry a beast in this case.
Yeah.
So, you know.
And it's actually not just Celebrity. I'd say it was the response and the overall macro play of Saigon Jokers. Though, let's see. Still, I'd say Ash being removed against Celebrity, that's one asset proved to be useful gun now for the side of Saigon Jokers.
Very true. And for the side of, let's go ahead and check the picks here. You know, Vestigial, again, we've all said how that Jin is an absolute beast in the Garena Premier League, so no surprise there. Vestigial is going to be taking that away from Celebrity in hopes of dealing an insane amount of damage going into even the early mid lane. Hopefully we'll see Mexulu really make something out of this Jin pick here. And for the Saigon Jokers, Lucian, fairly okay AD carry. I wouldn't peg him as one of the top tiers, but still a very okay pick. You know, the early game dominance is there for that Lucian going up against Jin. We'll see how that plays out. And the Hecarim, oh my goodness. Hani On is going to be an absolute beast. Very dangerous on that Hecarim. We'll see how that plays out. And let's see, Vestigial, Lee Sin.
Yes, man.
Oh man, that's going to be
change
interesting.
here. Coming in from the side of Vestigial, BBTY is actually, not that bad on the rec side, but the influence might be lacking. But I'd say there's no call to change that rec side pick. Instead, Vestigial, they're gonna go all in on this one. They're gonna go on a Lee Sin, making a comeback here on the game 3 of this semi-finals here at GPL 2016 Summer.
Yes, very interesting how this Lee Sin will play out for Vestigial. I feel like as far as the synergy between these champions, I'm kind of questioning it, but we'll see how this plays out. You know, they might have something up their sleeve. So, oh my goodness, there we go. We have the Maokai and Azir being locked in for the side of Vestigial. We'll see how that plays out.
Yes, so it will be a Yasuo. It proves to be effective, I'd say, paired with the Nami. And so far, I'd say 2. This is done quite well with his Nami. I'm not sure if it's been playing that Nami compared with the Ash. But I'm sure the comeback champions here for the side of Saigon Jokers would be Ro. Once again, using that Echo. He has a very good influence, being very on point on with those parallel converges, and Han Yi-an, once again, back on this Hecarim.
Yes, that Echo will be indeed a good pick for Ro to keep enemies at bay. Oh, there we
so
go.
What we have is the Talia, not a Yasuo.
So that's going to be very interesting for the side of Saigon Jokers. But then again, I feel like they are a team that could pull this off as far as the coordination. You know, I feel like both Ro and Su will be a good setup for the Talia there to get the maximum output as far as the damage is concerned. And for the side of Vestigial, you know, again, I feel like this is a very intricate composition as far as the coordination that you need, because like if you don't get the coordination on the skills for the Jin, for the Bard, even for the Lee Sin, you know, things could go wrong if played incorrectly. So I feel like this is a very risky composition Vestigial is running as far as the communication that is required to really make sure that this is an effective composition. But then again, very risky.
They have no choice. They have to get that early game
True.
tempo. The asset that Lee Sin has in terms of the early game, enter, mid game, he definitely has to snowball the lanes better compared with Honey and right now, I'd say Vestigial can keep up with Saigon Jokers, enter early game, but the late game has always been, plus the scaling has always been on the side of Saigon Jokers before. But that's the problem. You are just keeping up. With this Lee Sin being on your roster, you don't just want to keep up. You want to take that lead. Enter early game, not just respond.
Exactly. I feel like if there's one way Vestigial can try to get a win off Saigon Jokers, as you said, that's true. You know, the early game is their best bit because mid and late game, it's pretty much been established that Saigon Jokers is a dominant force. You know, that's kind of their spike, I'd say, as a team, you know, if we're going to look at the players themselves. But as far as that is true, Vestigial, with the Lee Sin, with the composition that they have, I feel like they should really be pulling the stops early game, or otherwise they're just going to succumb to a 3-0 on the part of Saigon Jokers. But, you know, we'll see how that plays out.
We'll see. As you have seen here, we are now live here at the chopper above Summoner's Reef. Ladies and gentlemen, Game 3, game point might be if ever Saigon Jokers gets that sweep against VTL in this best of 5 series. Ladies and gentlemen, what you are watching is the semi-finals match, second leg of the Garena Premier League 2016 summer. And on update, Bangkok Titans is already sitting on the first slot of the finals. Let's see who will face them. Welcome to the Summoner's Reef once again. We are on the blue side. It's gonna be Vestigial from Singapore in the top lane. Live 4 on that Maokai, the jungle BBTY. For the Lee Sin in the mid lane, we have Eric Helik on that Azir. And for the bottom duo, what we have is Maxilu on that Jin ADC and Kra on that Bard support.
Yes, indeed. And Vietnam, make some noise for your heroes of the day in the top lane for the Saigon Jokers. We have Ro on the Echo in the jungle. We have Hanyi on that Hecarim in the mid lane. We have Warzone on the Talia. And to sum up the bot lane, Celebrity, truly the celebrity of this best of 5 so far, on the Lucian for AD carry, and Su on the Nami for support.
Observing here, this is very unlikely to become a reverse sweep, I'd say, for the side of Saigon Jokers, giving their performance. So, like, I'm leaning more for the series to close out 3-0. But of course, we'll know. Let's see, we'll know.
Yes, in order for Vestigial to pull this off, they really have to go aggro in that early game. We have kind of established the fact that Saigon Jokers tends to go even with the teams come the early game, and I feel like if Vestigial really wants to make a comeback and make the dream of achieving a reverse sweep, they have to pull off the stops as early as the first 10 minutes of the game.
This is a road to GPL 2016 Spring Finals. Spring Finals. Bangkok Titans and Saigon Jokers. Once again. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, we'll see though.
Yes, and here we go. Fairly standard lanes that we're seeing here for both sides of Vestigial and Saigon Jokers here. So, you know, nothing particularly out of the ordinary. We did see both sides spot each other out, but nonetheless, no invades happening, you know. I'd kind of estimate that we're going to see fairly typical what we've seen of Game 1 and Game 2, unless, as I've said, Vestigial has to pull off the stops as far as being aggressive. And there we go, a trade-off happening between Ro and Life.
The top lane, you can see BPTY is steadily transitioning in this top lane, making sure that no Hecarim will respond. Sonic Wave now connected, he flashes in onto Ro, and that's BPTY's early game tempo kill given onto Life.
There we go, very good start for Vestigial, and exactly what we have been seeing, what they should be doing as far as this early game. And Warzone going on to a Kari Kellic there. You know, I feel like very interesting how the Talia
the Venus that lane. Warzone is the new mid laner.
Now that you mention it, yes.
Yeah.
So
we have a different mid laner here.
Perhaps, you know, Warzone more efficient on this Talia as far as the strategy that Saigon Jokers is going for. Because indeed, as you go along, if you think about it, when it's pretty much established what Saigon Jokers is strong at, the mid and late game. So maybe they're hoping to balance things out, knowing that Vestigial might pull off something different and know what advantages they need to gain as far as the early game. Probably Warzone to kind of throw them off for the side of Vestigial and avoid them potentially getting a reverse sweep here. But we'll see what transgresses between Vestigial and Saigon Jokers here in this game.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen. No,
Oh,
observing the junglers here, you can see the aggression. I would say for the macro plays, but you know, that base of that level 2 gank there by BBTY is really nice. Given that the kill is given on the lane for Life 4, but of course, Ro is still at it. He still wants to go aggressive on this top lane. We'll see though, so closely observe in this game. And observing the bottom lane matchup.
yes.
Well, I'd say that a Bard plus a Jean early game combo would pair well against Illumination plus the Nami. But look at this, Warzone has nothing to throw now. All cooldowns are up against Arcalic, so things are looking pretty even in this mid lane too for this
That is very
matchup.
true. That's the problem I feel with Vestigial. If they don't keep up the early aggression, the consistency as far as the aggression that they should be going for against Saigon Jokers, then I feel like Saigon Jokers again will pretty much do the same thing, you know, slowly build up and hold that thought though.
Yeah,
Celebrity.
let's see. Tons of damage coming in into Celebrity. But of course, Chu has enough mana to sustain him using that ebb and flow. So things are looking pretty fair for the
Yes, again.
pretty fair still.
True. And if you're gonna look at Mexilu, he is a little bit low on mana there, which kind of explains that they couldn't really go all in as far as the damage that they would have potentially wanted to dish out there. But ooh, look at this. The BBTY in the top lane.
The camp is real in this top lane. You can see also Handy, and now gonna complete his teleport. And we'll see though, we'll see though. Of course, Life 4 can give up information against Ro. It's just a matter of one phase dive in, and that's the signal to go in. There's the Sonic Wave. Where's the Sonic Wave? No flash will be used here from Ro to dodge the Sonic Wave. Sonic Wave won't be casted too. Why?
I'm not sure.
Oh, there we
what-
go.
There we go. But again, yeah, that was somewhat questionable. You would have expected the Sonic Dash to have been executed a little bit earlier. So I'm not sure why BBTY didn't go all out there.
Yeah, for the Sonic Wave.
Especially knowing that, well, then again, Rose Flash is in a few seconds will be up there. So
Yeah, you
it-
want the element of surprise, right?
True, exactly. And here we go there. I'm really hoping that Vestigial will pick up the tempo here. You know, they did have a really good start going 1-0, so I'm still waiting for them to continue this. But then again, as I've said, if they don't, then Saigon Joker is going into that mid and late game is getting a little bit of a trouble.
Ah, man. Could have been a kill in the top lane, I'd say. Given that Ro has no flash.
Oh,
The top
there.
lane engage. Plus, there's a good amount of time where there too by BBTY. But let's see. That is a deadly flourish casted onto Celebrity. Very dangerous. Good thing that guy is not that enraged to dish out those normal hits. But still, the Ignite gets baited out against the VTL support. So let's see, you have to take note of 2-2 has the ebb and flow sustained. Now Celebrity is willing to trade up against ebb and flow once again. And there you go, Honey on as the cherry on top goes for the double kill. A very clean setup there by that bottom duo paired up with the jungler here of Saigon Jokers. Now let's go for the top lane. This is BBTY's turn again. But you have to take note that Ro has the flash. Gets top 2. This 2 in the top lane by the parallel convergence there set up by Ro. Really nice.
Not a position that Vestigial wants to be in as far as the plan to go early on aggressive. And I feel like the problem there is in the bot lane. Mexilu was low on mana there, so they weren't able to take down Celebrity into as intended. And unfortunately, Han Ye-an was able to respond fast enough as a result there. So things are looking, again, we're seeing a fairly even field here. But hold that thought there, Han Ye-an.
Yeah, Han Ye-an is willing to go all in onto BBTY. Now that the safeguard has been used, we're gonna burn 2 flash.
There we go. Lucky for the
Yeah.
top lane there. Han Ye-an's ult is down, so
That's
they will be
yeah,
able to
but
escape
that's
that.
big 2 flash gun.
Exactly. So that might be an advantage for Ro there as far as making a comeback now 0-2 on that Echo. But then again, this is a typical Saigon Joker situation wherein it's even.
in the early game, yes.
So we'd pretty much assume that when it's even, then it kind of
Links more for the Saigon Jokers.
exactly, because they suddenly make these comebacks again. If you're gonna look at the scoreboard here, as far as CS, with the exception of Ro, but hold
Yeah.
that thought there, Mexilio in a lot of trouble.
Even Mexilio with that awkward sidestep, but it's very likely, or it's very hard to escape also that
Yes.
tidal wave, given that your back is against the wall. Though Kura also has no ultimate, at the very least feel for him using that Tuppered Fate. So, you know, that's one good initiator by Saigon Jokers bottom duo. And look at the gold lead. Also, they're scaling pretty well, sitting on 1.4k gold lead.
I feel like this is very well played out by Saigon Jokers here, because sure, they are able to get those top ganks, but without the carries snowballing and getting the items that they need early on and not getting the advantage, it's gonna be useless for the Maokai. Sure, will be able to deal, will be able to tank in the front line, but without the heavy follow-up damage coming from Mexulu and even Arikelik, then it'll pretty much be useless that the top lane does have that early advantage.
Rose is calculating.
Oh!
Maybe that is because Hanyi-an once again. Hanyi-an!
Very typical there.
Yeah. It's like the story of the lane just trading up, but you know, Hanyi, it's just an opener for Hanyi-an to finish that kill. Usually it's the Hecarim that is used to set up these skirmishes, but no, you know, here Pre, here, I'm gonna go for the kill here.
I'm kind of surprised that Vestigial didn't ban out the Hecarim, because
Yeah.
the Hecarim again
They
has
banned
been
that
a
on game 2.
contender. Yes, exactly. So I feel like it should have merited a ban, knowing that Hanyi-an is just an absolute beast on that Hecarim, plus the early game. But hold that thought
is
there.
really nice initiate from the side of VTL, though no execute. Nobody will reach the hard-hitting bullet, the fourth bullet that is. You can see also Ro teleporting here in this bottom lane. This is crazy amount of damage onto BBTY. Hanyi-an with the lead that he has to go for life for, and you can see the double kill on top of that Surima shuffle. Getting tried to be pulled off there by Arikelik. A 2-for-0 exchange, all in favor of Saigon Jokers, as once again things are going south for Vestigial.
Vestigial again not being able to accomplish the early lead that they wanted to have. And again, 2-6 on that scoreboard is not looking good for Vestigial at all, because especially going for the risky Lee Sin somewhat. I'd say that if you're going to look at the regions, I feel like Singapore has a big pool of talented Lee Sin players. If you're going to look back at the previous seasons wherein Singapore Sentinels, Hallelujah is actually one of those strong Lee Sin players back when he was jungle. But nonetheless, this isn't really looking good for Singapore's team, because oh my goodness.
Bad. But of course, you know, the engages being done here by Saigon Jokers, they
Yes.
know when will their teammate arrive.
Exactly. And I feel like they owe that a lot to Hanyi-an. You know, he has been a dominant force in these games, and I feel like he is a key reason, you know, the early domination. Look at this now, 5-0 on that Hecarim. That is very scary. And the thing, though, with Vestigial is they wanted to establish some kind of early aggression to cancel that out. But the problem is with Hanyi-an going 5-0, that pretty much cancels whatever objective and advantages Vestigial wanted to accomplish as far as that early game. And things are looking pretty bleak at this point. 2-6 now, you know, Saigon Jokers now having that lead. They are just going to continue to capitalize on that. And at this point, considering the history that Saigon Jokers has when they have the lead, it's very scary for Vestigial, and the reverse sweep looking slowly
Fading
kind
away.
of out of reach now.
Look at that. 12 minutes into the game. Hanyi-an, 5-0-0 by Trinity Force.
Very scary. Oh my goodness. And you know, Hanyi-an is just going to continue to be a dominating presence on this map.
Yeah, this is gonna look bad for Jean, actually.
Oh,
but
there
let's
we
see,
go.
Hanyi-an turn once again. Lays down the Shurima Shaman away from Arikelik. Forced to flash out, but that baited out the recall. Is that a recall I'm seeing? No, I didn't see any recall, but rather a teleport in this mid lane. But still, that's the ultimate from Hanyi-an gone. If, you know, if Arikelik didn't Shurima shuffle away from Hanyi-an, if the cooldowns are just up, if Hanyi-an just waited out for the dash or one arise to be gone, or maybe a Conquering Suns to be on cooldown,
Yes.
he could have taken that kill, even with Arikelik holding onto that flash.
True, actually. And Oh my goodness, I'm really worried for Vestigial at this point, you know. Oh my god, Saigon Jokers just voicing themselves. They really want to go 3-0, they really want in on the finals for the Garena Premier League, but ooh, Arikelic is able to escape with a slither of health right there.
Yeah,
And, oh my goodness, Honey on again, 6-0 now on that head with the response coming in from Su. They are going to be chasing down BBT Wider. Will Honey on be able to get the kill there? Yes! That is a kill for Honey on, but going down.
Nice response there by Kra. When you think a member of VTL will survive, Honey on all fours will just arrive, and this is gonna go bad. No, it's gonna go good. For Celebrity is here, ladies and gentlemen. Plus Ultra is gonna go for that calling to go for the Jin ADC on this mid lane. At least Honey got shot down.
That's true. But then again, now 7 kills. That is a very scary Hecarim for the side of Saigon Jokers there. And I feel like if you're going to look at how these clashes have been going on between Vestigial and Saigon Jokers, for Vestigial, they're kind of in the moment, you know. When they see a window of opportunity, they take it. But I feel like Saigon Jokers just kind of baits them into these traps, and they're always one step ahead. All of a sudden, Hanyi-an comes in. All of a sudden, even Su, Celebrity, the responses are real coming from Saigon Jokers, and which is why they're just playing these games so beautifully. And to be honest, it's just really hard for Vestigial at this point, knowing that Saigon Jokers is always a step ahead of them.
You know what Hanyi-an reminds me of?
What?
Hanyi-an reminds me of Psyduck.
Why exactly?
Because he just pops out of nowhere.
Okay. Like pops out of nowhere and then
gets that kill.
So, oh my goodness, Vestigial in a very scary position as far as trying to keep the dream alive to make it to the finals of the Garena Premier League. But Hanyi-an will not
get
be
scouted by the new ward.
They're looking to siege this turret, but they will be backing off with no minion wave
You have
there.
to take note, the bottom lane, outer turret is gone now on the side of VTL. And right now, Saigon Jokers has one Cloud Drake. This is very useful for Hanyi-an.
This is just very classic Saigon Jokers. They have the advantage. They're just trying to get objective, trying to overwhelm Vestigial and maximize the lead that they have. And I feel like Vestigial has been having a hard time responding to whenever Saigon Jokers has the early advantage. And this is going to be very scary for them. I'm not really sure how they're going to be able to come back from this, knowing that Saigon Jokers is just going to capitalize on.
And here we go, ladies and gentlemen, on top of that Aqua Prison, Arikelic. And no Onslaught of Shadow being cast. Okay,
but still, that was just 2 members of Saigon Jokers, and technically that was just not a position they wanted to be in there.
That's a big amount of damage coming in from just the devastating charge. I wonder why didn't Hanyi-an casted that Onslaught of Shadow. Maybe because it won't pass through the Emperor's Divide. I'm not sure though. I'm not familiar with that kind of interaction for these 2 skills.
I think perhaps it was because if you're gonna look at the map, there were 3 members of Vestigial that would have been ready to respond to Hanyi-an, and he could have died from there if he overcommitted. But nonetheless, that is a tower down once again for the side of Vestigial. Saigon Jokers overwhelming them with the objective control that they have right now. 6,000 gold difference in favor of Vietnam's finest team right now. And Singapore needing to step up their game, or else it's gonna be a lost cause.
I also would like to commend the play of Hanyi-an on the Elise earlier at game.
Yes.
Being very on point with that flash cocoons. Let's see though. So
there we go.
I see there's the
Hanyi-an gonna be much more scarier with that referral up there. Oh, lie for lie!
Yes. I think that's aspect of the void, or does the referral buff being received there by Hanyi-an now? It's gonna just, kill threat will be just as higher.
Exactly. And I feel like with that, going 1v1 wouldn't be a problem for him. All that.
Yeah, there's, would be nice for BBC right to pull up an Insect King now. He gets chased here by Ro, but look at Arikelic, they're gonna collapse onto Celebrity. Gets the ignite, and Celebrity will kiss the ground. Coming in from the Bard, but the kill, yes, the Bard managed to kill Celebrity here. Now here comes Ro for the re-initiate, receives the deadly burst, and Ro still still at it. Hanyi on! And here we go! Onslaught of Shadows on top of that devastating charge. Double kill, ladies and gentlemen.
Honey on! There we go. The true. It's like watching Superman fly in to smite all the enemies. Oh my goodness. This is just going out of control for Vestigial. I'm just wondering if what they could do to make a comeback. Just look at this. Honey on now 9-1 on that Hecarim. Adding more insult to the injury is the fact that he has that Rift Herald buff. And oh my goodness. This is just looking pretty bleak for Vestigial as far as getting the reverse sweep, which I'm not really sure if it's feasible anymore.
That is a 9k gold lead there.
Oh my goodness.
On top of that 10 kill lead of Saigon Jokers.
And it's scary to think that it's just going to continue to get bigger and bigger. Knowing that, I mean, forget about the carries. Honey on just carrying just beautifully.
And now he's holding outside that huge Ghost Blade. There's gonna be one hitting Jin here, Maxilu.
Imagine the damage that he's gonna get off from that all that movement speed that he's building up once he charges in. Kinda like a pseudo Kled right now where we go charge!
Yeah, man. How's Kled so far?
I haven't gotten the chance to play him yet, but he's looking for Yobi. Hold that on Celebrity going hard.
Look at this, they're gonna collapse onto Life or making that methodical pick, but what a nice kick there by BBTY. Hanyi on! And there you go, double kill once again. Where will this ever stop? The double kills. Going into Hanyi on the 2-for-1 exchange in favor of Saigon Jokers. But here we go, ladies and gentlemen. Hanyi on! Scooping the Bard support. Now gonna collapse onto Mexilu. That's the 4th bullet. Oh no, 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 no! Oh! Deadly Flourish. Where's the Deadly Flourish? Hanyi on, making sure he doesn't get any Deadly Flourish or hit on the cheat.
Honey on, some kind of hero out of some crazy epic playboy right now. I don't know what is going on for Honey on some spiral out of control on it. And look at Ro just comfortably getting this top tower for Saigon Jokers there. And will be running away.
Hanyi on didn't activate the Yumus Ghost Blade.
Oh yeah.
On the bottom lane of the bridge. You know, he could go for a 2v1 if he tried embracing Mexilu, but with the Yumus Ghost Blade. But look at this, a 3v1. Ro, what is on your mind, man? And there you go, a 3v1 ended up with a 2v1 with Life 4 getting that kill and execute onto Ro.
Oh my goodness, but look at this though. We are now 21 minutes into this game. 6 and 19 on the scoreboard, but more than 10,000 gold difference in favor of Saigon Jokers. I don't know.
Here we go! Hanyi on! Once again, ladies and gentlemen, double kill ulit over the bottom 2 of Vestigial.
I don't know what to make of this anymore. Saigon Jokers just absolutely crushing it. You can feel the hunger that we want in on this GPL finals, and they will get it if Vestigial doesn't make a comeback. But
I wonder what is the reaction over the Vietnam Stadium right now.
Probably the same as Hanyi on!
Hanyi On's Ducati Hecarim.
Exactly. Oh my goodness.
Here comes another Harley Davidson Thalia, ladies and gentlemen. You know, this is like a game for the taking of Saigon Jokers.
Yes.
Right now, the comeback for VTL would be to get those shutdown kills and bounties against Hanyi on. But you know, different picks all over the map. Look at this. Wow, Celebrity not even receiving the touch from the Emperor's Divide. Though there's the curtain call getting casted here by Mexilu. So will Hanyi on go down? And here you go. There's the shutdown now. But look at Ro. He's dealing damage and he's trying to put in that, you know, Project Bat on the Mexilu. Like in Rage. And all the more, securing the lead and sealing it for the side of Saigon Jokers.
This is just pretty much out of Vestigial's hands right now. I'd say this is a game that is just waiting to be finished. Oh my goodness, 7 and 27 on the scoreboard. Not to mention the 17,000 gold difference. Look at this, they are really poising themselves to finish up this game. They're Vestigial trying to defend as hard as they can, but they...
Oh, wow! Sonic Wing! Resonating strike coming in, Prof. BBTY is gonna go BB. After that engage saying TY though, let's see now. Life 4 is gonna go for this chase. You have to take note, there's the flash being burned from 2. This 2 has the ult. No, he won't. He gets killed here. It's gonna be Arcalic securing that one. Still the chase is onto Celebrity. There's also the calling being laid down here by Celebrity. Won't go into that magical journey. Here we go. Hanyi An's adventure! Yes, ladies and gentlemen, like an ice cream getting scooped there. And I think Life 4, accept with his face. You know, this is just the heck cream, like chopping wood in the forest. There you go.
And oh my goodness, Vestigio trying to defend his hard, listing him to prolong. Oh my goodness, Saigon Jokers might need
Hanyi!
to...
Oh! No! What is that? What's that? How did he kill Arcalic?
The damage! Oh my goodness.
Onslaught of Shadows.
Yes.
Smite! Oh, he smite Azir. Guys, that's how you end the semifinals.
That was very... I don't know what to make of that. 3-0.
Oh, look at
Hands
that.
up,
No
man.
victory screen.
Yeah. Oh gosh.
What a game. What a performance there.
I don't even know what to make of that. You know, Vestigio was... How do I put this in a kind way? Vestigio...
Okay, so what happened? What happened?
Yeah.
Early game, you know, the approach of the Lee Sin to go for that early game tempo
Yes.
in the top lane. He's gonna go for the camp on the top lane. Kind of awkward decision making though.
True.
As when he initiates onto row, he wouldn't cast first the Sonic Wave. Because he would want to cast the Sonic Wave, enter phase check, deal damage, cast the Sonic Wave, deal damage whenever Echo or your target will try to dash away or walk away. You go for the resonating strike. And that kind of engages in decision making. You know, it's kind of questionable coming in from BBTY. Now in the KDA of 165. And what about the story of Hanyi An? 17-2-2!
That is some MVP potential right
Trinity
there.
Force 12-minute mark.
That is just absolutely insane.
Yeah.
You know? Like,
Look at the damage. 19k. 19,473 damage dealt to champions. What happened there? It's like the engages.
yes.
In the top lane, in the mid lane, enter bottom lane too. Like, all these laners for the side of Saigon Jokers, they're not finishing the kill. Instead, they are opening up for Hanyi and to just clear up.
Yes.
And I think maybe they plan on snowballing the Hecarim just to mitigate the damage from the Jhin because they have a lot of champions that could go in on the Jhin. Ro actually managed to successfully embrace the Jhin in the backline, and as well as Han Yi-an. But it came to a point that Han Yi-an is just so fed, he could kill anyone. He could basically kill anyone. He's killing an Azir using a smite.
Exactly, and I'm sorry, I'm just speechless from what happened there. Han Yi-an, I'd say pretty much the MVP of this best of 5 here. He really performed beautifully. Game 1, Game 2, Game 3, all consistent performances there. And you know, so, Bangkok Titans, they have their work cut out for them going into this finals here. They might need to consider banning out that Hecarim because that was just out of control.
Sek is playing Hecarim too.
True.
Actually, I'd say one of the major influences for the victory of Bangkok Titans was Sek. And for this game, Han Yi-an is quite well.
So it's the battle of the junglers.
Yeah. And look, it's really an interesting matchup because for the BKT side, it is Sek. There's also the mid laner, but it is Sek plus G4 plus Lloyd. The jungle, the mid laner plus the ADC. Whereas for the side of Saigon Jokers, we have Han Yi-an, Lovida, although he did not play here at Game 3. He was swapped in by Warzone. And also Celebrity.
True.
Celebrity has been exemplary when it comes to that Ash pick. So let's see. Guys, even though this is like a repeat of the GPL 2015 spring, you are in for a good fight. GPL 2016 Summer Finals will be played between Bangkok Titans versus Saigon Jokers. It's gonna be an exciting fight. We're gonna roll that one tomorrow, the finals, and of course, it's time to say goodbye for tonight's episode. What a semifinals!
Oh
What a
my
semifinals!
goodness.
We have been your shoutcasters for this game, and I am Shimbu with 1 for an I, and with me is of course Coach Arctic. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the Garena Philippines or Garena Esports Philippines coverage of the GPL 2016 Summer Finals. And guys, have a blessed evening, y'all.
On that Hecarim plus the early game.
But
Hold that thought
is
there.
really nice initiate from the side of VTL, though no execute. Nobody will reach the hard-hitting bullet, the fourth bullet that is. You can see also Ro teleporting here in this positive. This is crazy amount of damage onto BBTY. Hanyi and with the lead that he has to go for life for you could see. No! Double kill on top of that cerebral shuffle. You know, getting tried would be nice for BBC when to pull up, but second kick now. He gets chased here by Ro. But look at Arcalic, they're gonna collapse onto Celebrity. Gets the ignite and Celebrity will kiss the ground. Coming in from the Bard, but the kill. Yes, the Bard managed to kill Celebrity here. Now here comes Go for the re-initiate. Receives the deadly burst and Go still at it. Honky on, and here we go. Onslaught of Shadows on top of that devastating charge. And look at this, they're gonna collapse onto Life or making that methodical pick. But what a nice kick there by BBTY. Honky on, and there you go. Double kill once again. Where will this ever stop? Double kills. Going into Hanyi looking for an exchange in favor of Psycho Jokers. But here we go, ladies and gentlemen. Hanyi scooping the Bard support. Now gonna collapse onto Mexilu. That's the fourth bullet. Oh no. Oh! Deadly flourish. Hanyi once again, ladies and gentlemen. Double kill led over the bottom two of Prestigial.
I don't know what to make of this anymore. Saigon Jokers.
Wow, Celebrity not even receiving the touch from the Emperor's Divide. Though there's the turning call getting casted here by Mexilu. So will Honky and go down, and here you go. There's the shutdown now. But look at Ro. He's dealing damage and is trying to put in that easy chase. You have to take note. There's the flash being burned from 2. The Stu has the ult. No, he won't. He gets killed here. It's gonna be Arcalic securing that one. Still the chase is on onto Celebrity. There's also the calling being laid out here by Celebrity. What's that? How did he kill Arcalic?
The damage! Oh my goodness.